Welcome back to the West Ham Network for another rendition of Who Starts versus Everton. I am Anton, joined by Stato Matt. Matt, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Feeling positive.
Are you feeling positive, especially after the way you reacted after the vital win in Europe the other night?
Yes, in some ways, yeah. I wasn't really sold on it, but I think was it Russ made a good point that whenever we have a gap, we have a really bad game first, and then we start getting rhythm again. So in some ways, yeah, because hopefully that was the bad game because we had the week off, and that's how I'm trying to spin it. So yeah, I'm quietly positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, if you haven't already, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, and leave us your honest feedback on the channel as well. Put it in the comments below. Loads of stuff happening, obviously, on the channel, especially with your matchday content. Today, myself and Matt are going to build our starting 11. Of course, we're giving you your opportunity to build your starting 11. So we're kind of going to go through each position and give our kind of genuine thoughts and reasons behind why we are putting those players in those positions. Make sure you go back and check out last night's relaunch of the Late Late Show with Irish Tommy. It's going to be a new presenter coming on the channel, presenting the Late Late Show, and hope you enjoyed it. So please go back and check that out. Stat Attack from yourself, Stato, is coming out, I believe, tomorrow morning. So keep an eye out for that as well, with everything that you need to know regarding stats, facts, you name it, everything with Everton and West Ham connected as well. But Matt, without further ado, I think it's time for us to get stuck in and start discussing this team, this starting 11. So again, we're sitting here and we're talking about the goalkeeper situation. We've not played a Premier League game now for a while. The last time out, the game was obviously cancelled due to the death of Her Majesty the Queen. And now we're coming back, and this is our last game until the 1st of October, I believe.
It's around then, yeah, because it's international break. Everyone's yay. Everyone loves some pointless Nation League games that get shown on Channel 4.
So, on the basis of that, then Areola obviously was in goal against Silkeborg the other evening. I mean, just very briefly, mate, what was your thoughts on him? And when it comes to the Premier League, does it switch back to normal service?
He let me. I'll be honest. He let me down. I've sat here for a long time, bigging him up like he has to start, and I guarantee somewhere Moyes has got like a little book because he's old school. It's not the computer; it's like a book, and it's like he's probably got Areola and basically it's only around Fabianski, and it's like he's got like a plus and a minus column. It's like every time you save me a point or save me a goal, every time you give it away, and Areola gave pretty much. He definitely gave one goal. I know it was a reaction save for the second goal, but you've got to either catch it or parry it sideways. And he pushed it straight back out into play. Yes, he got a bit unlucky with the ricochet, but in general, it doesn't matter what the game is, you don't want to be pushing the ball in that direction.
Yeah.
And then there was the corner when realistically they scored. I know the ref disallowed it, but in fairness, whether the defender was the opposition player was standing there or not, like whether he misjudged the pace or the flight, he was nowhere near the ball. Like he would not have got the ball. And I've sat there saying Areola doesn't, Fabianski doesn't command his box enough. He doesn't come out, he doesn't claim stuff. And at the start of the season, in fairness to Fabianski, he has been doing it.
Yeah, he has been.
He's doing it well. He's been relieving pressure.
Absolutely.
And then Areola does that in the first half. Then he gives that goal in the second half. I'm sitting there thinking, I've just bigged you up for like half a year, and you drop that. And like any like, especially in Moyes' mind, like any confidence that Areola was chipping away is just like, wipe the slate clean, start again. Fabianski's number one.
I tell you what, though. I don't think there's no point in us even trying to beat about the bush here. I think that Fabianski is going to remain the number one, really, until he gets a collective amount of errors under his belt. And we've got two very good goalkeepers under our wings, and it's not a bad situation to be in. He's committed to sticking with us, Areola has. But I believe it's going to be normal service as normal service resumes with Fabianski going back in goal. Do you agree?
100%.
There you go. So we'll do that. Now, obviously, with the Europa League games, the Europa Conference League games, we've seen Moyes try and test a few different things. Formation as one. What formation do you think with the Premier League that he will resort to?
He's got to go back to that like 4-3-3, come 4-2-3-1 thing.
Yeah.
2 games in a row? Is that? No, we missed a game, didn't we? Premier League game.
Yeah.
2 games in 3. He's gone to a back 5 when we're in a good position, and it's like, for how well Jordan used to be in back 5, it's like they don't remember how to play it anymore.
Yeah.
Like both against Chelsea, we were winning. We went into back 5 and lost. And then on Thursday night, we went into a back 5, gave away a goal, and we just lost all composure, shape, idea, any sort of hold on the game. It's supposed to make you more solid, but we just looked not comfortable. So I really hope that, at least for now, we go back to the back 4, and then maybe they can work on the back 5 in training for some point coming back in later.
I want to throw a spanner in the works, though. We obviously seen the return of this man, Craig Dawson. Great to see him back. We have, 5 centre-halves, 4 fit, 1 on his way back, obviously in a Gerd. And he gave us a borderline man of the match performance. His stats against Silkeborg were 90 minutes, 84 touches, 96% pass accuracy, 6 out of 7 long ball accuracy, 1 goal, 1 clearance, 1 block shot, 75% of ground duels won, 100% aerial duels won, and he only lost possession in the game 3 times. Dominant performance from Craig Dawson, but too early to even consider pushing him in to the team.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I'm not even sure where he comes in the pecking order right now if everyone's fit.
Yeah.
Like, he's certainly not in the top 3. And then it's between him and Ogbonna, maybe for who's, like, say, 4th choice. But
Yeah.
I think Ogbonna's probably further afoot in his fitness. I mean, Moyes did make a thing, didn't he, that Dawson had missed like 6 weeks of pre-season. So
he did, but I'll tell you what, mate. And yes, respect the opposition, but he didn't look like it. He didn't look like it, mate. Dominant performance.
So,
but let's get into
where he is. I'll be honest, I don't think he'll start.
So we go with the left-hand side of centre back. Then is it really any point in us beating about the bush here?
I think at the moment the back 2's nailed on.
Yeah,
the centre backs. I think it's Zuma and
we'll start with
Kira
him first. Well,
I think it's both. Well, I think Zuma. Zuma's the one for me that when Aguerd comes back might need to worry, right? But also in some ways, I don't want to say it nastily, but Zuma might be happy to see Oggy get into fitness and see Dawson getting back as well. Because like we've said before, he always seems to walk like, I don't know, like he's got shrapnel in his knee or something. Like sometimes you see just the way he walks or jogs, he has like a weird limp, and you're like, well, that's just the way he runs. So then every time he goes down, you're wincing, you're worried. So Zuma in some ways might be, you might see, this might be start to see something maybe better from Zuma, maybe more assertive, more dominant. Well, because maybe he's not as worried about the fact that if he does get a knock and he has to come off, that he knows there's reliable people to come on for him.
The only but to that, Matt, is that, me included, what we're saying, I was really concerned about Zuma at the start of the season, but he's been giving us performance after performance, week in and week out right now. And in actual fact, the more I even come to think about it, he literally waddled in the door. He waddles everywhere. And when he runs, he doesn't waddle. He just looks injured when he walks, and he looks a little bit like just dragging his heels a bit when the ball's not there. But
when he gets going, he looks like a tractor. Like when he starts to get going, he has like a weird wobble when he's getting the momentum going. Yeah. And then once he's going, he's fine. But yeah, it's obviously it's weird because he was our star signing centre back literally last season. And I think now he could be third choice / second choice, depending on what happens.
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that yet, but
because it depends on where Kira ends up playing when he comes back. Where he comes back.
I think we were talking about it last night, and this is for another show, obviously, but I think when Aguerd does come back, you could see them all switch across one position. You may see Aguerd with Zuma, and you may see Kira moving out into the right-back position. But we'll hold that out for future thought, for a future conversation. So currently we're going with this 3 so far. I think they're kind of pretty much stonewall options in the Premier League. So let's move into the right-back position then, Matt. Where are we going here? Obviously, recently deputised by Vladimir Safal.
I think it's his position at the moment. I don't mean that
Yeah,
as in it's his position to lose, although I think his performances have slowly started to get up again at the start of this season.
yeah,
I think he had an injury at the back of last season and he maybe come back too soon, but was just trying to do a job for the team and he looked out of sorts. He looks like he's getting back towards better this season. But at the moment, there's no one else.
no,
It's funny that we've got one absolute first choice right back, two kids that are both prospects. Well, obviously Johnson's played a lot more, and Ashby's got this hype around him, and they're both injured. Typical West Ham, isn't it? So
yeah.
at the moment,
It's
unless
Safal's
Moyes
position.
goes for a crazy, crazy idea, and like you said, drops Dawson or Bonner straight into the back two,
And
and then
moves
moves
Kira
Kira
out
across.
sooner, yeah. Because
That could be the only thing, but I don't think he will because the
one
pace
of
at the centre back position.
But one of my biggest concerns, really, with this right hand side right now is that I do think Kira's a fantastic player. He definitely loves pushing the team further up, and I think that's something that we're transitioning in, and therefore by doing that, sometimes we are getting caught out. But I'm not necessarily blaming Kira for that. I don't think that's just solely his fault. I think that the understanding between him and Safal is just taking a bit of time to get there, and teams are getting us down that side with it, especially with the overlapping runner. And we've seen it against Silkeborg the other night. We've seen it against Chelsea, and we need to quickly nullify that problem, which I think Moyes is definitely going to be onto. And I think the more that they keep playing together, the more they'll benefit for each other. But left back, you know, Emerson's been playing in the wing back role. He loves to get forward, mate. I mean, he is not fearful at all in getting himself forward up that field. He's not best defensively. What do you see West Ham doing?
So this is what we want, right? This isn't what Moyes is going to do.
This is what,
Emerson.
yeah,
I want Emerson. I'm sorry, but some people are now kind of come to the fact that yes, you want technically good players, but you need pace. Like you need pace in your team,
yeah,
and we've got away with it for probably about 3 years of basically just having Creswell, who hasn't got any pace since he had that injury years back when he got called up for England. He lost that pace. He hasn't had it since. So for me, I don't mind the fact that he's more attacking because he still has the pace to get back and cover, even if it means that, say, Zuma drifts out, Rice drifts out, and he covers in behind the space they're behind. Having said that, it's Creswell. It's Moyes.
yeah. But I mean, it's going to be. The reason for doing this is it's our opportunity to try and
I
build
would like
our
to see
starting
Creswell.
11, and there has been differences and changes this year as well. So we have to be honest with there. But you're pushing for an Emerson start, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, it's we're going to be away from home, so we're probably going to do a lot more counter attacking. And one thing you need to actually have an effective counter attack is pace.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Let's stick him in there as we have got in there already. Right, so we are now talking about the two central midfielders. Of course, Tommy Soucek had a knock. We saw him come on the field last night, get some game time. Flynn Downs had a fantastic performance against FCSB, however, did not feature yesterday at all, to many fans' surprise. It could be something to do with the park. We don't know. But he was on the bench there as well. It was Declan Rice who was alongside his West Ham counterpart in Lanzini. Do you think Lanzini done himself any favours last night?
Yes and no. I think he looked all right when he was sitting next to Rice, but then when Rice came off, we sort of lost that stranglehold. I don't know if that's a negative against Lanzini or negative against Soucek. He fits a certain way of playing against certain teams, and Lampard's not really an entirely negative coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, no offense, playing like a Burnley under Sean Dyche, should I say, where they're just going to sit back. And in that sort of game, you need the technical player, the guy with the pass. But I think he's down the pecking order in that position now. For me,
yeah, definitely.
I don't. There's only two guys that will start for me, and I think we both know who they are.
And that's them in the team. Tommy Soucek makes his return. Listen, I think Tommy Soucek's having a good season. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not. I think he is having a good season, and I think I think we did the stats as games were going on when the two of them were playing together. They were getting better as the season was getting in, and gradually they weren't losing possession as much. They were dominating midfields, and apart from the game against Chelsea, which we should never have lost, mate. We should never have lost that. Then, and that's not down to West Ham. That's down to silly decisions. So in theory, if you classify that as a draw anyway, Tottenham draw, Aston Villa win, Viborg win, Tottenham draw, Chelsea draw, FCSB win, Silkeborg win, then it's not looking as we haven't played amazing, but we're grinding out results. And it's looking a little bit better. And you've got to give credit to the two duo in the middle, especially one in Thomas Soucek, who people have doubted all season. But we've got loads of time to talk about that. We've got loads of time to talk about that in another channel, on another show. So Matt, with that in mind, the two of them are there. I suppose the left and the right and the middle and up front, there's a lot to talk about because there's a lot of players to put in there. So Jared Bowen didn't start against Silkeborg. Cornet started.
For me, that sort of tells you that the fact Bowen didn't start on the right means he probably is going to start.
He is going to start.
Moyes is now starting to rotate. But like we said, if you go back to the game Thursday, was it Antonio Benrahma, Bowen? Was it and there's someone else on the bench? But there was you had a front four on the bench and a front four starting the game. 4 hours. Yeah. When I was missing. And it's at the point now where we don't have to rely on 14 or 15, core players for the whole season. We don't have to sit there and go, our two subs are going to be maybe Benrahma and Yarmolenko. Mm-hmm. And not expecting Yarmolenko to really make any sort of impact. We now have options. So it allows us to rotate. The fact that he didn't start says to me that he probably starts tomorrow.
And the thing is as well,
he's got his England call up, so maybe have a bit of confidence and we might start seeing the old Bowen return.
I think that's vital, though, is the fact, I said this in the review last night, that it's his position really now to lose, so he's going to hopefully step up. And Moyes has said in the press conference, if you do watch it when Russ did it earlier yesterday, that he talks about we're starting to see glimmers of the Jared Bowen of the past. So that's Moyes' nod to the player to go, and I totally agree with you, mate. I think we will see Jared Bowen in on the right. The thing with Jared Bowen is you can't go stale overnight. I don't agree with that. I think he's just taking a little bit more time to come into the swing of things, and he's transitioning with this new transition in West Ham. And I get it. It might take time. There will be a time limit on that.
What's the saying? Form is temporary, class is permanent.
Well, to be honest, though, mate, I've said it all along. The next run of games after this break coming up is vital for West Ham, and I'm actually looking forward to it because it's the first time we can actually this season really try and get a bit of consistency on the board in terms of team selection, in terms of players playing consistently for the club without an international break coming up to the World Cup. All these players are going to have the World Cup in their mindset as well. But with the fact that Jared Bowen takes over the right-hand side position, that looks... What does that look like on the left-hand side for West Ham? I mean...
I think I've said this for about 3 games now and it still hasn't done it yet. So I'm going to go again. I'm going to stick with my gut. And it's going to be Cornet. He's actually going to start there. I mean, Moyes again has been bigging him up in the press.
Well, he picked him up, but he also was quite reserved on it because he said that he's been heavily effective on the park. If you think about the last 3 or 4 games, he scored against Chelsea, he hit the post against Chelsea, he won the penalty against the FCSB. He was effective in that game. He won the penalty, assisted a shot yesterday, the other day against Silkeborg. And in actual fact, you can't remotely deny that the guy is absolutely a bit of he's everywhere on the park. He is everywhere on the park. He covers so much ground. I'm going to bring you up his stats from the Silkeborg game just as an example, but 86% pass completion, 33 touches, 100% long ball accuracy, 2 key passes, 100% cross accuracy, 3 out of 8 ground duels won, 2 times he was fouled, 3 offsides. I will tell you though, for a fact, only one of them was a genuine offside. The other two should never have been called offside. One tackle, one assist, and he did win a penalty once as well. But what I think we've got here, Matt, with a player like Max Corney, I did a show yesterday on him about saying how he could borderline be an unplayable player, is he bridges the gap. He bridges. I don't actually, I don't even say Jared Bowen bridges the gap. Max Corney.
As an attacking player, he has some very core things that we seem to lack in some cases, which is that he has pace, he has the technique to back up the pace, and he's not scared to take people on. He's not scared to get into the, risky attacking position. So rather than hanging out on the wing, sitting on the touchline, he might tuck inside in the gap between like the defenders in the box, so we say the square gap between the midfield and the defence.
Yeah,
he'll go pick up that ball on the fact he's back to his ability that I can turn it or I can lay it off, I can get in, and then we can cause some damage. And stucking them players out of position, which then opens up space for everyone else.
Yeah,
and it's something he seems to be doing very well, which is why it's key. I think they should be playing him.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's put Max Corney in. I think that what I saw against Silkeborg and also what I've saw of him recently, it offers us something, like you said, Matt, that we've been missing. And I think it'd be nice now to see him get a Premier League start. And in actual fact, when you look at this team so far that we've built, a threat on the right, a threat on the left, they can cross over, they can interchange. Emerson's driving forward, a couple of nice interplays that he did when he moved forward for West Ham the other night as well. So it's definitely an exciting time. Now, in behind the striker, our current record signing, Lucas Paqueta, has been... I must admit, I'm not going to lie to you, he's a joy to watch. But he's a different sort of joy in terms of quality players we've ever had in the past, because he contributes to everything, mate. It doesn't really lack anything.
He's like
much.
a Duracell bunny. He's like a Duracell bunny, which I think is maybe, like you said, he doesn't stop running, doesn't stop pressing. He gets physical, he gets stuck in, does all the defensive stuff that Moyes absolutely loves. And then on the flip side of it, he's got the technique and the vision ability going forward as well. Like we say about Souček sometimes, I think we said about maybe Lanzini playing alongside there, but it may not surprise me at some point later in the season when we do play a team that's going to sit back, that maybe see Paqueta sit alongside Rice.
Yeah.
Instead, because he's got that ability to do both.
But the cool thing about what I really enjoy about Paqueta in particular is the fact that, between him, Skamaka, and Corney in the game against Silkeborg, and when I've seen them perform individually, is they are progressive footballers. They think forward. And I don't mind patience in the build-up play. I think it's good. I think teams need to learn to maximise patience when they have a build-up play, and I don't mind players playing the ball sideways or backwards, all that sort of stuff. But he's clever enough to keep the ball moving, and he finds so much space. And when you look at the analysis of all the games that Paqueta and Corney have played in, they're very hard to mark, because you literally are pulling defenders out of their position all game. So when you look at West Ham's attack, it's very rare that you actually see a back line in a unit where you would expect the 4 or 5 to be in that kind of shape. They're very rarely in shape, because Skamaka drops deep, Paqueta's up front, Corney, even Antonio's out left. Like I can see what Moyes is trying to do. You just want it to click, and if it clicks, you think, shit, man, this could be frightening.
It's an exciting thing, but I think it's just, I've always alluded to the fact that he needs time to blend everyone in. But you said when the three of them start playing together, when they get together, when it clicks, and he finally, hopefully tomorrow, but who knows, when he finally bites the bullet and plays all three together, we're going to cause a lot of teams damage. Like, players don't like getting dragged out of position. And the fact we've got a couple of players intelligent enough to do that and make space for runners in behind should mean we start increasing our goal tally.
Yeah.
Just seeing the goals start flying in.
Absolutely. 100%, mate. Right, we've got Paqueta in there in the number 10. I mean, we've not even mentioned the likes of Ben Rama. We've not even mentioned Fornals. but it means that we've got strength and depth on the bench, and Moyes has hinted a lot, mate, that he's going to utilise that bench this season in particular. And the good thing about that is, if the game's not going in the right way, or even if it's a bit lackluster in the first 45 minutes, he has no problem pulling players off and putting other players on. And wow, now you can rely on Fornals and Benrahma off the bench, Lanzini off the bench if you need be, if this team is what we are potentially predicting. Like you said, when you looked at our bench the other night against Silkeborg, it could have been the starting 4 rather than the 4 that were on the park.
You've now got 2 front 4s.
Yeah.
Like, as in, obviously, we played 3 behind the centre forward. You've now got 2 whole sets.
Yeah.
Rather than last year when you knew it was definitely Antonio starting.
Yeah.
It's definitely Bowen out on the right wing. And then you had Lanzini or Fornals or Benrahma. Those 3 would take up 2 positions. And then you had Yarmolenko as a sub. And that was it. That was your options. And there was not really time to change or rotate or rest.
No.
Or bring on different sort of players with fresh legs to change dynamics in the game. And now that was why the transfer window was so key to getting players in. So we've now got, it's a 9-man bench. You can have 5 subs in a game. And all of a sudden we've now got options to, like you said, Moyes can change the game if it's not going right. He's got options to actually make a difference.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, listen, let's move into our centre forward. Chopped and changed this season. Scamacca, obviously, out with a virus. He's found himself back in the games again. He got 45 minutes against FCSB, got 60 odd minutes against Silkeborg the other night. He scored a belter of a goal. Ridiculous goal, really. But I really enjoyed his all-round play. I really did. I thought he was really effective. I even thought he was really effective against FCSB. It was probably harsh to come off. I thought, however, when you take into consideration he's not been that well recently, then it made sense. He had a 63% pass completion. I'll tell you something, though, that doesn't matter to me for a player like him because he does everything else. He had 25 touches, 4 out of 5 long ball accuracy. He scored 1 goal. He dropped deep. He'd done all the work for the team. He really got himself involved in the game, and he does get himself involved in the game as well. But on top of that, you've got a very well-rested Mickey Antonio who is looking good when he is getting some game time as well. So where does Moyes go? We're travelling to Goodison Park, mate. Where does he go?
This is probably, for me, the hardest one to pick at the moment out of, the starting 11. I think Scamacca, like I said, had a very good game, a very good link-up play. He's building himself back up. He got the goal, and it was a very well taken goal. Shot from outside the box, into the roof of the net. So you'd like to think that Moyes might reward him for the way he took that goal, But equally, in the week before in the League Cup, in the Europa Conference game, Antonio made a massive difference coming off the bench. He changed the game. He gave us a different dynamic, a different way of playing. They're both equally in different perspectives of different aspects of their games. They're both pushing for stars, which is, what we wanted to see.
Yep.
You want to see both players playing for one position, playing well, so it gives you the muddle. Antonio's been playing better, I think, personally, coming off the bench this season. Yep. I think when he's came on for the last half hour, I would like to see Scamacca start, but I have a sneaking suspicion it might be the other way around.
See, I think it might be what you said initially. This is why I actually committed to getting Scamacca in this image. Now, the reason, I'll give you my reasoning behind it, is that I know we've got this run of games coming up, but I think what I've saw of Scamacca, for me, it's more than enough for him to start the game. And he seems to be quite impactful from the start. And it's not that he's not impactful, it's just the fact that you've got a raging bull on the bench who's ready to come on and throw himself all over the place for 30 minutes or 20 minutes at the end, who's going to cause opposition teams wrong, which is exactly where you want West Ham to be. I think Everton are there for the taking. They are. We're there for every team's there for the taking, but I think defensively, Everton are there for the taking. And if you've got the threat of Scamacca, Corney, Paqueta, and Bowen coming at you at all angles, then that is a frightening thought, let alone the fact that you've got an options on the bench. Benrahma, creativity, Fornals, creativity, and, digging in deep, a terrier in the midfield. And then you've got Antonio coming off the bench, causing your defences problems when you've spent the whole game dealing with all this attacking threat. I think it's time that we see Scamacca. I think he's had a game and a half. He's had about, 90, 100 minutes in the last two games since his virus. So 45 minutes the first one, 60 minutes the second one. I think he'll get a start, to be honest. I really do. I think he'll see this as an opportunity. And do you know what? He needs to hit the ground running in the Premier League. He needs game time in the Premier League. So I think Moyes has to make that transition. And that is, to me, the 11 that he should go with. And I think that is what he will go with, unless you counter it.
I personally want to see that team. I hope it's that team. I've got boring counters that quite, would be a very more Moisey team, but that's not what I want to see. I fully would not surprise me if you see Creswell at left back tomorrow. I was going to say, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if you see Creswell at left back. Fornals out on the left wing. Maybe is that would probably be for me. They're the two that I think could be Moisey sort of starts rather than what everyone else wants to see.
Yeah.
And the centre forward is flip a coin, but the rest of it I think is sort of set at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And keep your comments coming in. Let us know your thoughts on the 11 that myself and Matt went through there, and think that Moyes will put out. Do you agree with us on the options that we put in the team there? Do you think Max Cornet has done enough to start? Do you think Moyes will see that for the Premier League? It depends on also how you look at the likes of Everton as an opposition team as well. Do you think Scamacca or Antonio will start the game? I mean, for me, I think it's a no-brainer. I think it has to be Scamacca time and get the impact off the bench with Antonio. But we all know Moyes does like to do things different to what we sometimes anticipate as well. This is the alternative 11 that West Ham could put out to tomorrow against Everton, with Creswell at the back, like Matt said, Fornals out on the left and Antonio up top. But it's not the team I would want to see, especially with the performances we've seen as of late. Now, thank you very much for joining us. This has been mine and Matt's West Ham starting 11. If you have enjoyed the content, make sure you do put a comment in the comments section, hit the thumbs up, leave your feedback, and let us know you're enjoying the content as well. Matt will be back with a stat attack video tomorrow morning, very first thing, so make sure you do check it out. Really good information as well. And yeah, hope you go and check out all the relisting of some of the shows that have been out on the channel, because there's some really good content coming your way as well. Matt, any final words?
Let's go for the win. Whatever happens, be positive. Let's go for the win.
Absolutely. Check out our sponsors. We've got some good competitions coming your way over the next week or so. So stay safe, and we'll see you in the next show. Come on, you Irons.
Good love.